Have you ever wondered what happens when soap meets gasoline high? I'm Dan, and today I've got something interesting for you. Most people would never think about mixing soap with gasoline, but this unusual combination can create a result that completely changes the way you look at these two everyday materials. And today I'm going to show you why so many people are surprised once they see what actually happens. So let's start with the soap first. I'm using a regular bar of soap and slowly grating it into smaller flakes. At first, this looks harmless, almost like a normal kitchen task. But when materials begin changing form, that's usually where interesting experiments start. The small soap flakes fall onto the tray little by little while the sharp edge of the grater scrapes across the surface. And honestly, this is the kind of setup that makes you curious immediately, because nothing about soap and gasoline sounds normal together. Now the soap is ready, next comes the gasoline. Before pouring it in, let me know where you're watching from today. I always enjoy seeing how many different people around the world love DIY experiments and outdoor survival ideas like this. Now we slowly pour the gasoline into the container. Not too fast, just enough to soak the soap evenly. If you look closely, the texture immediately starts changing. The soap slowly softens and begins turning into a thick, paste-like material. And this happens because gasoline acts like a solvent here. It breaks down part of the soap structure and changes the way the material behaves completely. Here I have some dry wood and a piece of cardboard. Most people try using paper or cardboard like this to start a fire outdoors because it's easy to find. So now we light the cardboard and place it under the wood. At first, the flame looks promising, but after only a short time, the cardboard burns away completely and the fire dies almost immediately. And that's exactly the problem. Starting a fire is easy. Keeping it alive long enough is the difficult part. Now, let's go back to the soap mixture. At this point, you're probably starting to understand where this experiment is going. The texture has changed completely. The mixture now burns much slower and more steadily compared to paper or cardboard. But now I want to show you something even stronger and more durable than the soap mixture. So let's move to the next experiment. This time I'm using candles. As the candle melts over the small gas stove, the paraffin inside slowly turns into liquid wax. Next, we need a simple tool to compress the fuel blocks. I'm using an old cardboard tube that would normally be thrown away. Using the angle grinder, the tube gets cut into smaller round molds. And honestly, this part is great because the size can be adjusted easily depending on how large you want the fuel blocks to become. You could also use metal tubes or similar containers if you want a different shape. And now we prepare the next material, sawdust. At first glance, sawdust may look useless, but dry wood particles burn extremely well when combined with the right fuel source. Now the sawdust gets added slowly into the melted wax, and immediately the mixture starts thickening. We keep stirring continuously so every wood particle absorbs the melted paraffin evenly. If you stop too long during this stage, the mixture hardens surprisingly fast. That's why everything needs to move quickly now. Back and forth, slow folding motions at first, then faster as the wax begins coating all the sawdust evenly. The texture now starts looking more like a dense fuel material instead of liquid wax. Now the mixture gets packed tightly into the cardboard molds. Before compressing everything, a wick is placed in the center and left sticking slightly above the surface. This small detail matters a lot. The wick acts like a controlled ignition point and makes lighting the fuel block much safer later. Now we begin compressing the mixture using a wooden stick. pressing downward slowly, then harder, then even tighter. Now let's test them properly outdoors. After long days filled with work noise and constant pressure, sometimes what we really need isn't more time sitting inside a room. Sometimes we just need fresh air, quiet surroundings, and a reason to slow down for a while. So this weekend, let's leave the city behind for a moment and head into the mountains together. Now the fuel block goes into the small outdoor stove. The wick catches fire almost immediately, and after only a few seconds, the entire fuel block begins burning with a strong, steady flame. What makes this interesting is how long the fire lasts compared to normal paper or cardboard. Instead of disappearing quickly, the compressed material continues producing stable heat for a long time. And suddenly, something made from discarded materials becomes part of a very useful survival tool. That's one of the things I enjoy most about DIY experiments like this. Sometimes ordinary materials still contain hidden value if we're willing to look at them differently. If you enjoyed this experiment, let me know where you're watching from and share your own camping or survival tips in the comments. I'd love to learn more ideas from all of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe because there are still many more useful DIY projects coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.